what were you saying to yourself to keep yourself going to play the sport you love as long as you could?
Right. Just knowing like that I was resilient because I had been through different things, right? So it was one of those things like, all right, like this is just a part of your story, right? I remember telling myself that often, like, man, this is just another part of your story. Like you've been through stuff like this before.
That's good.
So you're just gonna have to push through it, right? And it didn't feel good in the process. Like, I mean, I remember times, many people actually don't know this. I didn't even tell this part of it. After my first year, right? I mean, I'm coming from a Division I college,
Right.
and going to a junior college, and I'm being told like, hey, you're going to be the man here. Like you, like one of my best friends from high school, he's like, oh, E, you need to come here. You're going to kill it.
Yeah.
I got cut that year.
Wow.
I got cut that year by the coach.
Wow.
If you're a go-getter, faith-driven, and family-focused, and need to break through to your next level, this is the podcast for you. Your self-talk can reshape every area of your life. It's time to dream and think big. Welcome to the Self-Talk Experience with Darnell and Tracy Self. It's time to elevate, baby. Let's get into the show.
Welcome to the Self-Talk Experience. I am one of your hosts, Tracy Self, here with Darnell Self. But guess what? We have a guest today.
Yes, Mr. Edmund Hunter. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for joining us here with the Self-Talk Experience. And if you're new to the Self-Talk Experience audience, welcome. We appreciate you all being here. Thanks for all the likes, the follows, the shares. And remember, the Self-Talk Experience is all about the things we say to ourselves about ourselves. Remember, the things we say to ourselves about ourselves eventually determines what we attract and even who we attract for ourselves.
That's how I got you.
Oh, geez.
My
We have a
self-talk.
guest. We have company. Can you act right?
Okay.
I'm used to it.
Yeah, you are. But hold on. How did you get me with self-talk?
Because I said things to myself like, send me somebody amazing, send me somebody handsome, send me somebody who would let me be a stay-at-home mom. Look, it works. It works. It works.
Whatever. You're not even thinking about being a stay-at-home mom back then. Anyway.
Go with it. Go with it.
Okay, I'm going with it. Well, listen, we have Mr. Hunter from Arizona. Are you originally from Arizona?
I am. Yeah, born and raised, Tucson, Arizona.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. Well, I know we're going to kind of jump right into you as an adult.
Okay.
So have you always had dreams of being a professional basketball player?
As long as I can remember. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I've been playing probably since I was about 5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it was either that or I was going to be a professional chess player, believe it or not. Yeah, believe it or not. Yeah.
Chess player?
Yeah. Look, my dad taught me how to play chess when I was 5.
Wow.
And yes, my dad was really good. Taught me how. So he was like, yes, he pushed me into sports, but that was time for us, right, to really connect. So I learned how to play at a really young age. I got pretty good. I was in some different tournaments, things like that. Believe it or not, yeah, like chess is a thing for me, for real. So yeah, I was really good at chess, but yeah, basketball has always been my love. So I ran track, I played basketball, you name it, I did it. But basketball was absolutely, yeah, that was it for me.
So how was high school basketball? Were you like the star of the team? Did you ride the bench? How was
Man,
that?
so it's funny because I had an experience. This is like story of my life. It's never just been like just, okay, you're the guy, right? Like it's never been that way. Like I'm so thankful. I've had a strong work ethic once from my father as well. But no, like I was really short. I was 5'3" as a freshman in high school.
What?
Yeah, so I'm 6'4" now, right? But
Dude, that's
I
a
was five.
spurt. Like,
I was 5'3" as a freshman, so I played on the freshman team. I was the star of the freshman team, and then my sophomore year I had a little bit of a growth spurt, and I was on the JV and varsity basketball team.
Okay.
And then it wasn't until really my junior year where things kind of took off for me.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So hold on. When did the growth spurt happen?
The end of my sophomore to my junior year.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
I
you
went
came
from
back after summer break. They were like, wow.
yeah, they're like, who are like I went from being a point guard to like, oh, you're a forward now. You know, it's just like it's crazy because I was 5'3" as a freshman. I was about 5'6", 5'7" as a sophomore.
Okay.
And I came back as a junior like 6'2". So it's like, what's going on? I was all clumsy and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Hold on. So, because sometimes people say, "Oh man, he wears a size 13. He's gonna be tall."
Right.
Were you always like a size 13 and then your height, or did your
No,
feet
no,
small
like
too?
good thing it like kind of progressively.
Right.
moved. Like, cause yeah, that would have
Because you
been
meet,
that would have been
sometimes 5'3".
right. They got boat shoes.
Right.
No, like I was one of those like my dad is tall. My dad is 6', 6'1".
Okay.
But he has a smaller foot. He's like a size 9.
Okay.
So I had a small. So nobody,
Yeah,
you know,
nobody,
and
right.
yeah, you didn't know if I was gonna be tall like that or not.
Right.
No one saw it coming.
Right. You didn't see it coming. Yeah.
All right, so so let's go to college.
Yeah.
How did because I want to take you somewhere here.
Okay.
So talk to me about college ball.
Yeah. So I had some different opportunities to play college ball, but none of them that like I always told myself I was a D1 athlete, right? I was like, I'm a D1 athlete. I want to go D1. And I didn't have those offers coming out of high school that I wanted. But it was, man, so funny. My mother, she was sending out like my game tapes, like all my highlight tapes. She was sending that to all these colleges because I was stressing out about where was I going to be able to go. And I didn't think it was going to happen for me. So mom jumps in. She's like, we're going to figure this thing out. She's like, figuring out whatever she has to do. She's sending out my game tape. She's getting some calls back.
Right.
So she sends the tape to the University of Arizona. And at that time, like early 2000s, Arizona, they get the #1 recruiting class every year, right? And so I wasn't top 50 in the nation. And someone called her and actually said that, is your son top 50? And she was like, I don't know. I think he is. Right. And so, right. Yeah. She was like, I think he is. And they were like, yeah, I'm not sure. But somehow it got to the assistant coach, Josh Passner. And Josh was a walk-on at Arizona.
Okay.
And he called my mom and he gave her some advice and some tips of what to do and said, hey, we got some connections here and there. And I ended up being able to go to Arizona State and I walked on there, which was awesome. Had a great opportunity, there. Ended up after that going, after that first year, coach got fired, stuff like that. So I ended up going to a junior college and I played a couple of years at the junior college, went back to Arizona State to finish my degree.
Wow. So how did you playing professional ball, how did that transition take place?
Yeah. So once I was done with college, I still wanted to play. I was playing in some pro leagues, some semi-pro leagues. Shout out to Corey Williams. He played at Arizona University as well. And he started a pro league in Tucson, and like a lot of top athletes would come and play there. And there was, I guess a scout you call him. He became like my agent.
Wow.
His name is Albert, and he had opportunities in Mexico.
Okay.
And so a couple of my really close friends, they had already gone to Mexico to play, and so they took me out there with them. Did really well. And got picked up by a team there in Mexico. And so so that had always
so awesome, man. And that so I'm imagining your self-talk at that time because you're going through kind of some peaks and valleys of, all right, I'm excited. All right, you know what I mean? I'm walking on, and then, things happen throughout this career. What were you saying to yourself to keep yourself going to play the sport you love as long as you could?
Right. Just knowing like that I was resilient because I had been through different things, right? So it was one of those things like, all right, like this is just a part of your story, right? I remember telling myself that often, like, man, this is just another part of your story. Like you've been through stuff like this before.
That's good.
So you're just gonna have to push through it, right? And it didn't feel good in the process. Like, I mean, I remember times, many people actually don't know this. I didn't even tell this part of it. After my first year, right? I mean, I'm coming from a Division I college,
right,
and going to a junior college, and I'm being told like, hey, you're going to be the man here. Like you, like one of my best friends from high school, he's like, oh, E, you need to come here. You're going to kill it.
Yeah.
I got cut that year.
Wow.
I got cut that year by the coach.
Wow.
Hold up, a junior college.
From the junior college.
Coming from the D1.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I got cut that year. I don't feel like I deserved that, but there's some other things at play. But I remember sitting down next to my friend's car in tears because I was just like, how, like, is this happening? Like I'm one of the best guys on the team. They didn't feel like I was ready physically. Come to find out I had a viral infection. I was really sick, didn't know it. I was just pushing through it, ended up in the hospital a couple of days later. And so that's really why my frame had, dropped down like that. But I didn't get to play that year. I still showed up to every single one of their games, even the games that were on the road. I traveled.
Wow.
The coach had to see me every single game. And he was just like, dude, you are so committed.
Such commitment.
And he apologized to me. He was like, I'm sorry. Your character is just unbelievable. You're supporting the team like this. You're still at every single game.
Because at that point, you could have said, forget it.
Yeah, I'm going to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like I had, but I was just determined. So it was just kind of that's always been my road. Like it hardly has ever been one of those things where it's just like, oh, you're qualified, you got it, right? Like whether it's been a job, whether it's been, sports, just in life, there's always been some adversity, but it's almost like you start to look for it to happen in a good way. Like, like it's supposed to happen and I know how to get through it. You know what I mean? A lot of that is because of the self-talk.
Yeah. Well, what's so great is, I'm sorry, you're going to say something?
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, what's so great is that, we often say how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Right.
And you overcoming, whether it be, situations where it was a setback or seemingly a setback, whether things didn't go according to your plan,
Right.
and you were able to quickly make an adjustment. And, quick is relative. It could be days, it could be weeks, but you still bounce back.
Right.
So now you're in business. We're business partners, by the way. And, I know that you've gone through some ebbs and flows and peaks and valleys in your business as an entrepreneur too.
Sure.
And I'm sure probably even your career prior to getting started in your own business. Not only are you leading yourself to such a high level, doing really well here, you're earning a strong 6-figure income, which you're really proud of, by the way, man, congrats. But now leading other people to do the exact same thing, which is huge, right? Being able to now lead other people on their way to 6 figures.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about maybe some of the pain points you've experienced being in business for yourself and how that aligns with valleys in any area of your life. And what are you saying to yourself, man? Not just to get you going, but also to keep other people going.
Yeah. That's I don't want to say it's a loaded question, but I mean, there's so much to it, man, because especially in business, like it's daily, you know what I mean? Like
that's true.
You have to be prepared for the fact that things likely aren't going to go the way that you plan them to. But I had to learn that, so early on in the business, I had some success, I guess you could say fairly quickly. I mean, like my first month, so like in this type of a business, you're like, oh, I'm killing it. You know what I'm saying? Like I made an extra $1,000, you know what I'm saying? Like on a part-time basis. So it's like, it's just up from here, and when it wasn't, it was like, oh, okay. So there's some things I got to learn, which I'm okay with that. I've got a strong work ethic. If you can show me how to do something, I'm like, okay, I got it. But that took time. So it was like, why is this not like, why is it not happening the way that I feel like it should? Because I understand it now, right? Like I know how to do these different things in business. I didn't realize that a lot of it had to do with leadership. And so that was a self-talk, I think, initially that I had to have with myself of where was I lacking? What did I need to get better in? And that was okay, right? Because I was used to being really good at different things. Like, I mean, running track, playing basketball, like I've done things on a high level. So then coming into this space and feeling like I'm supposed to be the man and then not, right? Like that was challenging, but like, okay, what do I need to learn in order to continue to get better?
That's good. That's good. And look, this is so key, guys. I want you guys to miss this because you said, first of all, it's daily. Secondarily, you said you almost have an expectation that something will probably go wrong in business. But yet you're still looking at the glass half full because you can't think something's going to go wrong and you be negative. Right. Sometimes you're like, I knew something's going to go wrong today. But the thing is, you're preparing yourself mentally. It's like mental stamina. You know what I mean? Like, yes, I may fall down, but I'm definitely getting back up.
Right.
Is that the kind of conversation you're having?
1,000%. Yeah, 1,000%.
And energy is key. If you have your energy always high, even if something's not going well, your energy can take over in those moments. Right? Every day you have to wake up with that new energy, and that's hard to teach. It's hard to teach people to kind of look within and get that energy up. We talk about that all the time.
But you've done that. Any tips on how to inspire others to lead themselves? Because not only have you learned how to lead yourself now with disciplining your disappointments. And being able to come back quickly, but now you're teaching other people to do that. Right.
Yeah. So I guess I would say my main tip would be to get around others that you believe emulate what that looks like.
That's good.
And so I've always had great mentors, right? Whether that was my father, that's been my number one mentor in my life, you, sir, and then others in our space, right? Harold Branch, Mike Humes. I mean, there's so many people in our space, in our business, but just even in my life, great people like my cousin, Corey's like my best friend. But I have good men, especially around me, that emulate what it is that I see as like resilience, as bouncing back. So number one is like to be around people that are positive, like people that have picked themselves back up, because you can lean on their experience, right? One thing my father used to always tell me was, he said, son, a smart person learns from their mistakes, right? A wise person learns from the mistakes of others. And so being around people that have already made the mistakes and being willing, right, and humble enough to say, well, how'd you get through that? Because once again, knowing like stuff is gonna happen, right? Like it's gonna happen. Maybe it hasn't happened yet, but it's gonna happen. Not in a negative way, like, oh, I can't believe I'm gonna have to experience these things, but being prepared, like, hey, stuff is gonna happen. And what did you do in those moments, right? So now, like me and you, we talk about it often, like about pivoting. It helps you to do that faster because you've already kind of heard, discipline your disappointments. I had never heard that until I met you, right? But learning what that meant to discipline your disappointments, it was like, okay, I get that now, right? Like I'm never too high, I'm never too low, right? But I wouldn't have known that if I didn't have the right mentors.
That's huge, because a lot of people won't humble themselves to even do that. A lot of us won't ask the questions because we're embarrassed, or we don't need anybody else's advice. But to be the type of person that's open to be vulnerable and say, hey, how did you do that? And it's helpful.
And that, but because what good is it having great mentors around you if you're not coachable?
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they're trying their best to pour into you, but you're listening, but at the same time, you're not receiving the information in a way where you're saying, yeah, I'm going to go implement this. You're like, oh, I hear you, man. That's right.
I hear you.
I hear you.
Yeah, I'm sure that works for you.
Right. But
are you listening though?
Right, exactly. Like, are you truly in a way where it's like, okay, I'm going to act as if I know nothing so that I can receive everything.
That's good.
If not, you filter through what you think. You're filtering through your own experiences, which you feel can apply to you, instead of saying, let me take in everything, go execute, and automatically you will walk down a path through the lens that you've had in the past, but yet learning from what you've been told in the present.
Right. That's good.
And that's the key. So now you avoid pitfalls from the past, but yet you're able to move with more effectiveness and efficiency, because you've got someone saying, oh, by the way, 3 more steps up and make sure you turn to the left, because there's a mind right there.
Right.
And because you don't know, you've never been there before. That's what great mentorship is about. And that's why I feel like you have succeeded at the levels that you have, because even when your coach said, hey, look, we might have to cut you, or we are going to cut you, you're like, hey, I'm still going to stay around.
Show up.
And I'm still going to show up. I'm still going to show up, man. And just like you're here with us right now in Houston, but you're in Arizona. Because we had a big event. You're like, hey, I'm showing up. We had people that didn't come up the street from Houston because they were like, there's traffic out there on the 610. I'm like, okay. And you got a flight. That's the difference. That's the difference. But those are the folks who like, man, I'm just trying to be like you. I'm trying to get to that 6 figures. Like, no, but you're not willing to do what you're willing to do.
Right.
Man. All right, guys. Well, listen, we are excited because we had Mr. Edmund Hunter here with us today, and I'm sure that you guys gained some things from his self-talk. Any final words you want to share with the self-talk experience audience?
Man, I think that it would just be that I can't stress enough, like how true that statement is, like the things that you say to yourself about yourself. I don't know if people internalize it as much as they should, right? And that everything happens for me and not to me. Like just there's subtle things like they're said, but if you really like take them to heart, right? Like there's so many things that are going to happen in our lives. And when you really take each one of those things that happen and say, how is this happening for me? Because in the moments, it doesn't always feel like it. It's like, no, this is happening to me right now. Like, hey, sir, this is one of them situations where this is happening to me. But when you really internalize and say, okay, how can I take a step back and look at how is this actually happening for me?
So good.
You can shift things so quickly because you start to find solutions, right? You're so solution focused and oriented. You're not waiting for someone to give it to you, but you're actually creating that for yourself. by looking at how is this actually happening for me? How can I benefit? Right. So
Man,
what I was here.
that's so good.
I love it.
So good. Thank you,
I
man.
love it.
Appreciate that.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having
Yeah,
me. I
thank you,
appreciate
man. We
it.
appreciate that. All right, guys, another episode of the Self-Talk Experience. Remember the things we say to ourselves about ourselves, as Mr. Hunter said, will eventually determine what you attract for yourself if you internalize it while it's happening for you, not just to you.
Absolutely.
And remember, if you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail.
Take care, guys.
Thank you for listening to the Self-Talk Podcast with Darnell and Tracy Self. We hope you enjoyed. Be sure to rate and review this podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform. And we'll see you next time. And remember, talk good to yourself.